Hello, community. Today we have a battle. Human against machine. And you might say, hey, why? Now, have a look at this article here. I'm now in July 1st, so in the last 6 months, what happened to technology layoffs? And here you have an article from this author, and it says, the running total of layoffs for 2023 is currently more than 200,000 people have been laid off in the tech industry. And I think this is an amazing. And if you look here, for example, at Bloomberg, where you say here specific company shares jump upwards after they announced that they're gonna slash 19,000 people. After you see here, over the past year, they added 39,000. And now they have to correct their management decisions because they don't need almost half of them. Wow. So the shares jump with this decision. The biggest job cut yet announced in the consultancy sector. And then about some weeks later, you read from the same company that they now invest 3 billion in AI to accelerate and now clients reinvention. And you think, wow, this is interesting, yeah? And then I just noticed that this particular company restricts all its employees from using ChatGPT and other generative AI tools. So their upcoming brand new innovation is just good enough for their clients. So here we go now. Given this conundrum, I decided to have here an ultimate battle. Human against machine. Now with the machine, we have the best, the brightest, the most intelligent AI system we have today on this planet. And it is GPT-4. And here on the other side, we have one man. And of course, he is the best. He is the most intelligent. And he is the only one available today. Me. So I'm so sorry, but let's start with our first task. Our first task is here from the Harvard Crimson that the Introduction to Coding at Harvard, the CS50 course, will integrate AI into its course instruction. So, let's start a competition. It is me against the machine. So what are my thoughts and what are the thoughts of GPT-4? My thoughts. We code because we want to solve a real-world problem. We learn to use a tool like a programming language in order to solve a problem that we encounter in our professional life or that is given to us in our company. So the syntax and the logic of a programming language is highly specific. And at the time it was designed to tackle certain problems in the past. So can we transfer these problems of the past in our today's world to make it understand why we have this particular syntax? An abstract and complex programming language focuses at the time of its development on the existing hardware and software infrastructure. So think about GPU. Today what we see here in PyTorch and TensorFlow 2 are optimization, acceleration for specific GPU problems we have when fine-tuning large language models. So this complete ecosystem that exists defines the multitude of possible solutions, how we can code and what code to use to achieve our task. So the system limits our solution it provides. Therefore, if you want to learn an abstract programming language, its syntactic commands and its overall logic structure, which also defines the flow of a program, it depends heavily on the first insight on how we can use code to solve problems. And I think this is a critical factor when you start coding, and to integrate here an AI is an interesting topic. A programming language is constantly evolving, constantly changed, constantly augmented by massive development. For example, with Python libraries. So additional libraries extend here the reach and the usability of a program code beyond its original intention to solve additional and even more complex problems within the ecosystem of coding. So therefore, as a student, you do not only have to learn the syntax of a program language, but also its current possibilities, given the multitude of libraries and the strengths and weaknesses of those libraries when applied to solve a particular actual real-world task. Now, there are different approaches when you start to teach program language, and we're talking here about CS50 from Harvard, the first contact with program. So either you start on a pure abstract level of code. You explain the functionality of the code syntax. We start from the program language structure to explain its form and function. Or we break down the theoretical complex problem that we want to solve, that we want to apply our code, into smaller, logically optimized independent subproblems where we can apply some standardized code sequences to solve here these individual subproblems inherently and then aggregate back to the more complex solution. And this is something we see here in highly modular approach today. Or option 3, we use a complete different approach to try to understand the problem from different perspectives. We frame the problems differently and find the best way to apply a powerful, let's say, Python code and Python libraries that have been optimized for a specific problem-solving task, given now that we have a differently logically structured task. So, you see, learning to code is also a decision on how we approach the very beginning of our learning endeavor. Do we start from a programming syntax and describe what a syntax and a program language can do, and then choose the manifold of problems that the syntax code and the code sequence is able to solve? Or we turn it around and look from the complex side of the problem solving and try to change our perspective. We analyze the problem, we frame it differently, and we discover that we have a multitude of paths how we can write code. And we have options how we can solve this problem. This all depends how our first contact with code happens. And I think there's also an old way. The old historic approach, learn code, was the first command is, hey, print hello world. And then, you have your first programming command for a simple logical pattern, and you go on. But I think today the modern way of teaching code includes a complexity right from the start. And I doubt that the current AI systems are able to reflect this modern approach. But it could be very powerful to apply AI in the classical old-fashioned approach. But is this the right way to go for Harvard? So, in summary, in addition, we understand that our AI system is just repeating what it learned from its training dataset. And AI strongly depends on the quality of our training dataset. Especially the code sequences are extremely important factors for the performance on teaching how to code. Either you have an excellent coder where this AI system learned code sequences from, and this expert codes in a way that opens up new possibility, how to apply this code to a multitude of problems. He writes a more generalized code sequence. Or you have an average coder that just prints a code statement just specific for one task and one task only, and we lose here the beauty and the ability of code to be applied to a multitude of questions. Also, I would argue that the human touch in learning how to code is essential because we as humans, if we try to understand new pure logical syntactical data, new structural data of an abstract coding language, we need additional information to help us understand in a better way why this code is structured in this particular way. And I think as humans, it is our interpersonal learning patterns that evolved over centuries that we as humans are so trained on. And I think this is, in my opinion, the best way, and it's best provided by a human teacher. So where we as humans can align, can accept, can understand how to do things, like to code. It is different if you learn from a human being, or if you just follow a machine that just averages over maybe 100 medium programming skills. You have to choose your path. The question remains, will an AI, multimodal, so you have here maybe not just the text interface, but maybe you have a speech and maybe you even see a 3D face on your screen. Will an AI be able to simulate a virtual human teacher? For example, when we will apply the new Apple Vision Pro, virtual reality. And now we're gonna see what GPT-4 comes up with. You have here ChatGPT Plus, the GPT-4 version, And as a Harvard University course CS50 will integrate artificial intelligence into the course instruction, your task to perform, reflect on the contents of this sentence and give me your opinion regarding the sentence. Your role is of an educated intellectual who is interested in AI and education and the role of AI in our society. So let's see what... Yes, no link, thank you. Exciting and a reflection of the rapidly evolving world of technology, AI into Harvard illustrate how education is adapting to the digital age and our increasing reliance on AI. The very nature of teaching and learning is being transformed, and this integration could set the stage for how education is delivered in the future. The marriage of AI and education represents numerous opportunities. For one, AI has the potential to create a more personalized learning experience. It can adapt to the pace. It can adapt to the pace of individual students, customize contents to their understanding, and provide real-time feedback. In the context of CS50, AI could help students understand complex concepts, follow along with coding examples, and experiment with code in a supportive, responsive environment. Moreover, by integrating AI into the instruction, Harvard is showing that it understands the importance of preparing its students for the future, where AI will play a significant role. It is vital for students, especially in computer science, to be familiar with AI, understand its benefit and limitation, and be prepared to work with or develop AI systems. However, this shift should also be undertaken thoughtfully. While AI has many benefits, over-reliance on AI can lead to a lack of critical human judgment or creativity. Also, there are ethical considerations and implications related to AI that need to be part of the curriculum. Furthermore, it is essential to address the digital divide in this context. As advanced technology like AI becomes more ingrained in education, there must be efforts to ensure that all students, regardless of socioeconomic status, have equal access to these technology to prevent widening the educational disparities. In conclusion, the decision by Harvard University to integrate AI into its CS50 course is a forward-thinking move, GPT-4, that aligns with the evolving technological landscape. While it presents numerous opportunities for enhanced learning and future preparedness, it is essential to address the potential drawbacks and ethical consideration to maximize its benefit for all students. Really, really impressive. Okay, so now the second and the final task is the same topic, but now the complete article is available to us in full text. So now we see exactly what Harvard tells us about this decision. So let's go. Okay, I start first and then I hope you will be not impressed by GPT-4. So let's see. What I find particular interest here in the presentation of Harvard itself on its own course and why to integrate AI is something I would say how not to use AI. Now, what is the problem they mention in the Harvard report? They have a problem. They have underpaid and under-motivated course staff for CS5050. There are 50 assistants and teaching fellows for CS50 in the fall of 2023. 50 people that are underpaid, undermotivated. And in the article, they present here the solution that AI will free up the resources of those 50 people for quality time with their students. So to reallocate here this time toward a more meaningful interpersonal time with their students. Now, I think, my thought, that an underpaid staff is an organizational, is a management problem. I mean, Harvard, how many billions of US dollars do you have in your bank account? And you underpay 50 course assistants? Really? This is the problem you want to solve with AI? Next statement. Starting in the fall, students will be able to use AI to help them find bugs in their code, give feedback on design of the programs, explain unfamiliar lines of code or error messages. And I think, hey, a debugger is something I know. Now, an AI debugger is nice to have, But I think this is just an incremental innovation if you just have now an artificial intelligence augmented debugger. Is this really the reason? Third statement. Our own hope is that through AI we can eventually approximate a one-to-one teacher-student ratio. And this is amazing. 24/7 available, learning at their pace in a style that works for them individual. Now, I think one-to-one on a student education is great. But if it's just a debugger, we already have this available in the traditional software library. So let's focus on the second part. Support the learning of students at a pace and at a style that works best for them individually. How will you do this in AI? How does this learning at an individual pace look like, given that you have a clearly structured course with clearly defined problems? So how this will be implemented, and if this will be implemented successfully, are two really interesting questions. But the intention that you have a one-to-one teacher-student ratio, and I think the course will have more than 1,000 students, and you have here 50 course assistants. Okay, interesting. NCS 50 says, Howard, AI technology will be similar in spirit, but will be leading stewards toward an answer rather than handing the answer to them. I think this is great. This is great that you do not just tell them, hey, the solution is 42, but you give them the way to find answers, this critical thinking, positive. But of course, my thought, success depends heavily on the way it is done. By an AI system, by an autoregressive system, is it really able to have this feeling of where students are? Is it really able to respond in a way that is valuable to the individual preferences and the adaptability challenges that you might have from an AI system to respond to human needs? So, wow, this is a very interesting experimental AI system that will be performed on 1,000 students in parallel this fall at Harvard. Next point, the last point. Harvard expects early incarnations of the new AI programs to occasionally underperform or even error out. We'll make clear to students that they should always think critically when taking in information as an input, either from humans or software. And the system, the AI, will only get better through feedback from 1,000 students and teachers alike. So our students will be very much part of the progress. Now, okay, so we have an experimental AI that might underperform here in a scenario of university education in an Ivy League university, where I, as a parent, now have to pay $400,000 plus US dollars for an education of my daughter or of my son. And this underperforming AI in its first alpha phase, yes, this is a nice thing as a parent to notice that this is mentioned by Harvard. And to say that we, as Harvard, teach critical thinking when the AI system hallucinates and underperforms and errors out, it's like to say, hey, this new airplane, a fantastic new airplane, it will fly, maybe not all the time, maybe with some interrupts, but you will learn not to trust airplane companies and their marketing statement, which I think is a real cool thing. So, those are my thoughts here after having read now the content of this particular article and the argumentation of Harvard, why in their course CS50 they will have AI and why they argue that it is valuable and it makes sense. And now let's see what GPT-4 comes up with. So now in my second test, you see I have GPT-4 and I use now 2 plugins to get access to the internet. And I just add read the original article by Harvard University on the internet to gain additional information for your answer. And I give it the link where this article is. So let's see what GPT-4 comes up with. Here we go. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. Now it's gonna happen. Okay, connecting. Yes, very nice. Read all the information. It's just the short things. So, a more detailed view on the integration of AI into Harvard's course. Yes. So, slowly. This course, yes, plans to use AI as a tool to assist students in various aspects of learning, debugging their code, providing feedback on program design, explaining unfamiliar lines of code or error messages, and answering individual questions. The AI integration is seen as an evolution of the course tradition of incorporating software into its teaching methods. The course staff is currently experimenting with GPT 3.5 and GPT-4 models with the hope of approximating a one-to-one teacher-students ratio through AI. This would provide students with a software-based tool that can support their learning 24/7, at a pace and in a style that suits them individually. The AI being incorporated into CS50 will assist students in finding bugs in their code rather than providing outright solutions. The new programs will also explain potentially complex error messages in simpler terms for students and offer potential student-friendly suggestions. While the course is committed to adding AI as a resource for students, it will not increase in difficulty. When asked about concerns over cheating with AI and other forms of academic dishonesty, the professor stated that students have always been able to access information in potentially unauthorized ways. Shocking. But AI does facilitate such all the more anonymously and scalability. Therefore, there is a need to weave more emphasis on ethics into the course so that students learn through guidance how to navigate these new waters. As an AI enthusiast, and an advocate for education, here, I find this development to be a significant step forward. The integration of AI into education can provide personalized learning experiences and continuous support for students, which is particularly beneficial in fields like computer science, where hands-on practice and immediate feedback are crucial for learning. However, it also raises important questions about academic integrity and the ethical use of AI, which educators and students alike must navigate carefully. Moreover, the use of AI can potentially alleviate some of the workload for educators, allowing them to focus more on providing meaningful interpersonal time with their students. However, it is also crucial to remember that AI is a tool to aid education, not a replacement for human educators. This is an interesting statement. Hey, the human touch, the empathy, and the ability to inspire cannot be replicated by AI. This is really some clever copying from your template AI. I'm impressed. In conclusion, the integration of AI into Harvard CS50 course is an exciting development that showcases the potential of AI in enhancing education. It is a testament to the evolving landscape of education in the digital age, where technology and human ingenuity come together to create more effective and personalized learning experiences. Marketing 1+. However, it is also serves as a reminder to the ethical considerations that come with the use of AI, emphasizing the need for responsible and mindful usage. So what? Should we be responsible? Should we be mindful? Or should we be enthusiastic? So here we are, the ultimate battle, man against machine, in intelligence. My goodness. So here we go. The winner is... What do you think? Leave me your comment in the description of this video.